Hello and welcome to another very interesting conversation right here on Fiifi Banson television. If you just tuned in, definitely all you need to do is to go to YouTube, look for Fiifi Banson TV, click on the right side of the screen. You see the subscription button is there. You just click on it and definitely we are on with you. You click on the notification button as well, and then any video we put out there, you get a chance to watch it. We have interesting and sensible conversations right here on Fiifi Banson TV. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. Today, I want to speak to somebody who, she was once a very popular woman. Why? Because anytime your light went out, anytime your light bills went up, anytime your electricity, water bills went up, she was the one who would come and ask questions and answer questions as to why. She used to be at the PURC. She's a general secretary of the CPP. She has a lot of roots everywhere. And my guest today is Yaa Gyantuah. Nana, good to see you.
Good to see you.
You look beautiful.
You also look good.
I like your hair.
Okay, you know me, I've always been a braids like
I know. Do you have any Rastafarian roots?
No, I don't. Not at all.
But I like how you're looking. You're looking very nice.
Thank you very much.
Is it the general secretary of the CPP that is making you look brighter than ever before?
It's God. After going through all the hassles of this world, it's God who sustains us.
Yeah.
Without him, there's not much we can do.
Right.
Yes.
How is the state? We'll talk about PURC.
I've left PURC.
Yes, we'll talk about your time there and some of the things you did, the struggles, and the positives and all of that. But the CPP is the main focus for our conversation. What's the state of the CPP right now?
Oh, thank you, Fiifi. Greetings to your viewers and greetings to my CPP members. Greetings to all Ghanaians.
This has become a tradition.
Yes, it's become a tradition.
If you don't greet them, you are in trouble.
Yeah, you have to greet them. Greetings to my CPP comrades and greetings to Ghanaians. We are going through some very hard times, and I believe that as resilient as we are, we will come out of it. And we are urging Ghanaians to vote for the CPP in 2024 to ensure that there is a change in this nation. The CPP is doing well. We are gearing up to do our flag bearer elections, and we want to do it ahead of time. Normally, what we do, the status quo has not helped us, because what we do is that we do all the national elections, we do regional elections, constituency, then we do the last one, which will bring us to power. That's the flag bearership elections. So you notice that by the time you finish your flag bearership election, it's 6 months to elections. It's 3 months to election. You cannot market your flag bearer properly. So this time round, we decided that let's go according to what the Constitution says. The Constitution says when you are in a position, you may choose your flag bearer 2 years ahead of time. And if we have to even go strictly according to that, it means we are even late. So come July 28, 29th, we go to a Congress to elect our flag bearer. Now what we are doing is that we have open nominations, and nominations will end by the end of the month, followed by that, and then we give them a period of about 6 weeks to campaign. We know those who have the intention are already doing their own thing, but officially campaigning will be open for 6 weeks. Then we go for the Congress to choose who will lead the party to victory in 2020.
Some say Kwame Nkrumah died with his CPP, and that the CPP can never resurrect and be the third force that Ghanaians really want it to be. What do you say to such critics?
Kwame Nkrumah never dies. If that adage is true, then CPP will not die, or CPP is not dead, because everybody is talking about Kwame Nkrumah today, and everybody is talking about CPP today. Kwame Nkrumah died in 1972. In 1979, CPP came to power through the PNP, because the name CPP had been banned from politics in the country. So we came with another name, and the UP tradition at the time also came in the PFP. So we won an election with Dr. Hilary Liman. Those who do not know history think that Dr. Hilary Liman was on his own. No. Dr. Hilary Liman was on the ticket of the Convention People's Party, which was named the PNP at the time. So we had an election and won in 1979 by some curtailment. Democracy, multi-party democracy was by a coup d'etat. So what we were in power, And after that, a party that has gone through so much, sometimes you have this feeling that there's some force that doesn't want the CPP to be what it's supposed to be. But we are forging ahead and we are fighting forward, knowing that by 2024, the time is right for us to take power in this nation.
Why must we take the CPP serious?
You must take the CPP serious because the CPP is the only alternative that has the blueprint of industrialization, the key to make sure that Ghana works.
Some say you guys can't even come together. There are always splinter groups within the CPP. You find somebody, starting something else, PNC, CPP, all kinds. Why can't the CPP be united?
Groups in the CPP. There are people who believe in Kwame Nkrumah who have formed groups.
Why can't all of you come together?
So we are talking about unity now.
PPP, Dr. Pakwesindum's party, PNC.
You see, these things happen when you in any political party. You remember with the UP tradition, Rekugrobe formed the party. Was it you something? I've forgotten the
UGM.
Yes, UGM. I mean, in NDC there was the Eagle Party. So these things happen, but there's a point in time when you all agree that we need to conglomerate to the middle and make sure that the center is held together for us. So we are talking about unity. We are talking about coming together as one front. But for now, once the unity talks have not, and we haven't concretized it, we are going ahead to have our flag bearership election.
I don't know, but for some reason, if somebody is watching this program, why would the person have to vote for the CPP in an election?
The person will have to vote for the CPP because the two have failed us. 30 years, 32 years, 31 years of a multi-party democracy. It has been NDC, MPP, NDC, MPP. Now it is the time for Ghanaians.
Because if you say the two have failed us, yes, to a large extent they have. But you can't even put yourself together as CPP.
No, we are CPP. I mean, if you put everybody as CPP, then we are CPP as a party. The original CPP is us. So if you say we can't put our, we are together. We have a party. There are people who they say they believe in Nkrumah. And
every time you guys go for an election, you don't get anything significant to write home about. So everybody feels that CPP is just a spent force.
It is a feeling.
And therefore, people within CPP rather like to align to other parties, NDC, MPP. They infiltrate your camps and you're able to get people out of the CPP to do things for them. So if I listen to a CPP person on radio or on TV sometimes, what the CPP person says is almost like speaking for MPP or speaking for NDC.
No, I think that is what everybody gets it wrong. You can't use radio to decide what we stand for. Because radio, you are given topics. And the topic is in a certain direction. So it is what your party stand or what your party believes in that you espouse. It's for against or for it. So it is not about if somebody is speaking for a certain, maybe intervention, then maybe we believe that this intervention is good. If somebody, for instance, today, inflation is 42%. Food prices have gone up by 2.4%. So are you saying that as I sit here as CPP, I should say it is good? It is not good. Because the data does not support the reality. 42%, which has come down from 45%. But the price, what is inflation? Inflation is about the prices of goods and services, the surge. Either it's down or it's up.
Yeah.
Within there is one of the biggest components of food inflation that is always up. But today, as a statistician was speaking, the price wasn't for food inflation, it was for all prices. That's the thing, that figure. Normally, within the inflationary trend, you find that the food inflation is high because they account for goods or food that is foreign, that is being imported into the country. But now, I heard him clearly said, even though it is 42%, it has come down by 3 percentage points. Food or prices are up by 2.4%. So if such an issue comes up, do we have to say that we are defending it? No. Do we have to say it is good? No. So if we say it is not good and we say that ABCD should be done, then somebody sitting there saying that you are speaking for NDC.
Now, what is the state of the economy at this point? And what is CPP's position on the state of the economy?
Oh, but everybody knows. We don't even need to speak about it. Everybody knows the state of Ghana's economy. Everything is out of gear. We even
Are you disappointed in the MPP?
extremely, extremely, especially against the background of the kind of promises they made. One district, one factory. Where are the factories? What impact is being made? Anytime you ask for one district, one factory, then they go to their phone or they have a book that they are holding. Then they'll give you a list of factories. There is no concretization of the factory is here. It has been able to employ this number of people. These are the products you are doing. And what is sad is that most of these factories are existing factories, which already have people working in there. So even if you are going to add on, they give them a certain support. And that support is what will carry them through. So they should tell us that they are one district, one factory. It's a business support scheme, which is being even enjoyed mostly by foreigners, not Ghanaian companies under the AGI. Most of the companies are foreign-owned companies. The business support scheme. It is not, if you say one district, one factory, that is what the CPP did, where we build factories from the scratch. Even we are saying that it is about Ghana. Some of these factories, the shells are sitting there. Some are in the bushes. You can take it and revive it and resuscitate it. And whatever product that factory was producing, you can still do it same. Because Kwame Nkrumah built all the factories to the source of the
raw material.
The raw material. So if these factories are sitting there, there's business support that you are giving to these foreign companies. You could put it into some of these shells, some of these factories, and just build it up. Get new machinery and start running. So that you curb the rural urban migration. That now everybody is gravitating towards Kumasi, Ashanti region, and Greater Accra and Western region.
What is this thing about you politicians where a government in power starts a project, another government comes in and doesn't continue and wants to start something afresh? What is it about politicians and that kind of attitude?
That attitude is a very wrong attitude. When you look at our manifesto 2020, we said that when we come to power, we are going to ensure that we continue with all existing abandoned projects, including what was done by the CPP, so that you'll be able to save some money and also be prudent in spending. It's not every politician, we will not do that, but it is as if it's the bane of these two, especially the MPP, to always start new projects while there are old ones. Look at Saglemi. Saglemi is a housing project that is key. It could house so many people. We have a housing deficit, accommodation deficit in this country.
Almost about 1.4 million.
Yes, but they have left it to rot. So it means that 1.4 million households are in need of urgent housing. And now you let the place rot, and now you say you are going to give it to a private sector person. What is that? If there's an issue with Saglemi concerning financing, deal with that in the courts. And let those housing go out to Ghanaians. After all, it was built by the taxpayers' money. But most of these projects are left untouched. Do you get me? Some have been done, like some of these, the Pokwase interchange. Yeah. That one has been continued. But there are other projects that are very critical that have not been continued. And it is wrong, because the directive, a principle of state policy in the constitution, enjoins us that you have to ensure that these things, whenever a government comes to power, it's a question of continuity. It's a question of continuity. So it is very wrong for governments to abandon old projects and then go ahead to do new ones with our money.
Are you surprised at the rate of one of the things that the MPP campaigned on to come to power, corruption?
Yes, I am surprised, but I am very, when it comes to corruption, you see, you need to be able to establish it. One thing that I have that is a problem for me is, why do we always find people corrupt when they are out of government? You always find them in courts to be jailed when they are no longer in government. And it's not only Africa. Yesterday, in I think one of these Indian countries, I've forgotten, their former premier is in jail for corruption. Pakistan is in jail for corruption. And I'm like, when he was there, Didn't you see it?
Yeah, but when they are there, they have all these immunities, they have all these protections and all of that. So the structures will not work
It is the
against.
president who has the protection. It is not the ministers. So that is why we think that the CPP think that there should be a clear dichotomy between the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. That the chief justice should not be appointed by the president. They should be appointed by a conclave of Supreme Court judges. Within the Supreme Court, choose somebody. The person goes through the Public Service Commission, goes through vetting, and swears before the people of Ghana at Parliament. So that the person owes no allegiance, has no link to the presidency, and the person should be chosen only on efficiency.
But who appoints the Supreme Court judges?
It's the president.
Yes, so
that's what I'm saying.
He definitely will have influence.
Yes. So as a part of the review of the Constitution, we need to do that. We need to also have an evaluation commission made up of different political parties, representatives, made up of people who are independent of government, to evaluate government. Who says that government is corrupt? If not Yoko, the head is appointed by government. Shiraj, the head is appointed by government. So we should have an independent person, a commission that goes through the process of choice by Ghanaians, so that if there is a corrupt government, they can bring the person to book with some powers of the High Court.
Do you subscribe to John Mahama's assertion that he will cancel ex gratia?
Ex gratia, we need to look. Yes, we also said that we will cancel ex gratia. We said that especially for appointing officers. We also need to look at the vulnerable groups within the ex gratia. Because, for instance, some of the members of parliament, mostly when they leave office, their life is very miserable. Because as they are in there, they are not supposed to work. They are not supposed to do any form of business. Even if they do it on the quiet. So some vulnerable groups like that. Also, we should look at the workers, civil public servants. Look at today as we stand, DDEP has erased every worker's pension. Now we have this domestic debt exchange program. People have put their money into bonds. Even now the government wants to touch pensions. And it's become a problem now because the government has to reduce the debt to GDP to 57% as they inherited in 2017. As it stands, about 103%. And now it means it even makes workers vulnerable. So we need to evaluate it. Yes, if he did he say he will abolish? I heard that he said he will.
The executive, I think.
Yeah, the executive. That one, it has to be. But when it comes to the legislature and the workers and the others,
but with the legislature, for example, I mean, I have no sympathies for the legislature because look at what they even spend in trying to get into parliament. So how would you put them or term them as vulnerable?
They are vulnerable because you don't even know how they get that, and that is the vulnerability. Because the monetization of our politics have made them vulnerable. That is as if when you take a certain position, everybody's problem is on your head. So at the end
because when they are looking for the positions, they have the different twist of conversations. And so therefore, an MP will come and tell you, an aspirant will come and tell you, when I get into parliament, I'll do this for you. Promises they know they cannot fulfill, including I'll come and repair roads, I'll come and do this, when they know they don't do those things. Yeah. So when they make such promises and they get to parliament, and now they are being caught in their own web, why do we term them as vulnerable?
Those promises are on the higher level. You are coming to the level of the micro, where they deal with people one-on-one.
But even with the one-on-one, the things they say to them.
Sometimes it's not. People think that you have to do it for them. It's not what you say.
A certain sense of entitlement.
Yes, I mean, I don't want to use that word, but it's not what you say. And as long as you have decided to take over that responsibility and the way our system is monetized, you need to do it. I don't think anybody goes to an election to say that I'll look after you, or I'll buy you food, or I'll buy you clothing. They talk about development projects, of which they can facilitate it through. If the system is working, certain portions of the development project should go to them.
Will there ever be a time in our politics where it won't be monetized? Will there ever be a time?
Yes, we need to get there, because gradually, if we don't deal with the monetization of our politics, then we are even killing our own environment. At the base of the Galamsey is political party funding. Because you see, it has come to the point where politicians, you cannot steal money without being noticed. And that if you steal, at the end of the day, you would be caught. But if you go into Galamsey, it's an illegal place, because if that is not it, how come we have $6 billion of illicit gold leaving this country every year? And where does it pass? It passes through our ports, seaport, airport, our roads. And it is an international trade. And sometimes some of these young people that are, every day you see them, they put them together, they amass them, and they put them in jail. These are not the people who are behind the Galamsey.
The real big boys are behind it.
Yes. So one thing that even distresses is the fact that they ban some of these excavators. Where these excavators can be a form of evidence. Because if I know the chassis number of an excavator, I would know who it belongs to. If it doesn't belong to an individual, to a company, we could find out. That excavator is a source of evidence. But why is it bent? To erase evidence. And government was insisting that it should be bent to erase evidence. So you pack these young boys, young people who are at the periphery of the action, and put them in jail. But at the same time, we have $6 billion worth of illicit gold leaving Ghana. And we are looking for $3 billion from the IMF.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. But at the core of it is, if you look at it critically, it's more on political party financing. Because if you need about $100 million to run an election, within 61 million Ghana cedis to run an internal presidential election, how are you going to get the money from? And the Political Parties Act does not allow you to source funds outside. So where are we getting the money from? It is not very cheap to run a political party. So the point is that we need to look at the monetization. There's legitimate cost where you have to travel to the constituency, where you have to do mobilization, where you have to do membership drive. Yes, some welfare too should come in, where you should have offices. The Political Parties Act enjoins all political parties to have 150 offices.
Do you have that?
We have some.
But not all the 150.
Oh, we have enough. I mean, we have enough. We are still working to match up to the 150. A few to match up. So the point is that it's mandatory. If you don't have it, it's mandatory. It's only NDC and MPP that had all the 150. Everybody had some. So the point is that there's legitimate cost of rent. There's a legitimate cost of moving around. There's a legitimate cost of some welfare. Certainly within your political party, you have some people who are vulnerable, who need help. Who looks after them? Paying off. Once you have rented the office, you have to pay your staff. You have to pay your bills. The political party is not engaged in any form of activity with the exception of dues and donations.
Do you think that, I was speaking to a couple of people, academicians, and, they were making this assertion that political parties in Ghana, the Electoral Commission, our system, our constitution, should allow only parties that have representation in parliament to run for elections in this country. What's your take?
You cannot cripple the multi-party democracy. You cannot. If you want to take out some parties that you feel are not good enough in your view, it's a different matter. There are mechanisms to do that.
Because everybody gets up and sets up a political party.
Yes, but
for whatever reason
this is a democracy. You cannot stop anybody from setting up a
America practices democracy. How many political parties do
they have? They have a lot of political parties.
How many of them contest in
they
their main
all
elections?
contest, but it's just that it is still the two that comes up. UK have a lot of parties contesting. You have UKIP, you have all manner of parties there.
Because their dynamics are different. Because UK, Ireland is different, Great Britain and all of that. So you can have the UKIP and all of that, liberal parties and all that coming through in America. But in Ghana, you're having political parties. I can't mention some of the names of the political parties on this program. But
you have the Creadonco's party.
all those parties. Why would we have to allow those to contest?
You see, if you stop them, it means that you are practicing some form of pseudo dictatorship. You have to allow them.
Until we're able to get you into parliament. I mean, even if it is one
So
representative.
what about the independent?
So if it's independent, it's different.
The independent
But
candidate
if it's independent, it's different.
and the constitution doesn't say that you should get somebody in parliament before you are an existing party.
So I'm asking. So wouldn't there be some kind of constitutional amendment?
Then it means maybe there should be a constitutional amendment. But the point is that
because some of the parties are time wasters. We all know.
Time wasters. Whose time are they wasting?
They're wasting everybody's time.
No,
it's part of the kind of funding we are having, spending too much money for our elections.
The spending is not on government, so the spending is on the people who are in the party. They will find their own way, but sometimes it is the monetization of it. If we were going to deal with only legitimate cost, I don't think it would be that bad. Legitimate cost. But beyond the legitimate cost, and especially parliament is the driving factor. I wish we didn't have a parliament. People share cars. They share televisions. Go and look at these primaries that are going to come up. Do you get me?
Mm-hmm.
I wish there would be a way where people can go to parliament not going through an election.
How would they go then?
That is what I'm saying. We have the issues of proportional representation where the party strong, a party which is strong in a region will have people in parliament and all that. We have all these things, but we need as a country to sit down and deliberate on the monetization. Because when there's a parliamentary election, they share cars, televisions, cloth. That is where the monetization is. When there's a presidential, normally with the presidential elections, everybody knows who is going to win. And normally the contest is not as fierce as the parliamentary. Yes. And that is where the key money, that is where the monetization, that is not legitimate cost. That is not legit. That is a cost that is incurred depending on where you are from. For instance, somebody standing on the ticket of MPP in Ashanti region might not spend much. But somebody maybe from NDC standing in Ashanti region might want to spend much. Or tell themselves that, we can't make it. Or somebody from CPP might not spend much because Ashanti region is one of our strongholds. Somebody in the northern region on NDC, MPP, CPP, you might spend much because it is not a clear arena. Greater Accra is not a clear arena. So
all the swing areas.
So we need to be able to make sure that what are we using this for?
Where's the CPP stronghold?
Our stronghold mostly in Jomoro. We are in the northern region. Ashanti, parts of Ashanti, we are there. So I mean, and the middle, but even Greater Accra, Ododo, these are all our strongholds that we have to get back. We Elembele, Jomoro, Ododo, we need to get
just like the NDC has a Volta, the MPP has Ashanti.
We have the Western. We have part of Ashanti, we have part of Greater Accra. We have all over northern region. I mean, we have all over. We need to just galvanize 2024, put ourselves together and capture our seeds back.
So CPP will win the election in 2024?
Of course, why not? Why are we here? Why are we picking a flag bearer? It is time.
Sounds like a joke.
It is not. Whoever thought that MPP will come to power ever?
They look more organized.
They were in opposition for 34 years.
Yeah, but in 2008?
2021, we held them to come to power in the second round. They didn't win the first round. If you remember.
In 2021?
Yeah,
2001.
Sorry,
yeah.
2001. They didn't win. Kufuor went for a second round. We held them massively. In 1996, we did this. We did the alliance with them.
So the CPP likes to do alliances?
No, we don't want to do
alliances. Because you always think you're a smaller party.
No, not that we think we're a smaller party.
Because so called Kensenaka from the CPP.
Because we are stronger. If we are not strong, why would a big animal, a lion, wants to align with a rat? Because then there's some swiftness in the rat that the lion hasn't got.
Because if you look at even the NDC, there are some CPP antecedents in the NDC.
These ones?
I mean, if you look at the most of them from the Conquest Nakai and all of those people were part of the CPP back in the day. So there's always been that CPP element in either the NDC or in the NPP.
That one is the human. I mean, if somebody wants to do something, I always say that There's a song we sing in will be Kase or Don Nkrumah na onye CPP niya weye trophy. CPP is Nkrumah's party. It was formed by Nkrumah and his comrades like my father, my uncle, Bidia Kupoko, Kobodusei, Koyobo Tio, all these people.
Let's come back home. Let's talk about you.
Why do you always talk about me?
Let me talk about you. You just mentioned, I mean, your father was the founding member of the CPP.
Yes.
Tell us about
And
growing
my
up.
uncle KSP.
Tell us about growing up
I
in a home where, you know, because I know you also have relations with President Kufuor.
Yeah, President
You
Kufuor is
know,
my uncle.
yes, you also had relations also with President Muhammad's
Yes,
side.
President
You know,
Mahama is like my brother.
So who are
And
you?
President Nana Addo is like my father.
So who are you?
I grew up in a highly charged political home where everybody passed through. My father was F.A. Gyantuah, Franklin Edugobi Gyantuah, who was Nkrumah's protege, and he was also one of the people who pulled Nkrumah out of the Solpon meeting that was going to make him a treasurer. The UGCC at the time, they wanted to move him as general secretary. So as a team, with my uncle and all of them, Bidia Kupoku, Kobodusei, all of them, Kweku Bako's father, they formed the CPP and they made Nkrumah the leader. And they moved to get independence for Ghana. The struggle was a bit difficult, but especially there was resistance in Ashanti region. And my uncle and my father and all the Ashantis in the stood. And Ashanti man supported the CPP for independence and Greater Accra and all over the country. I grew up in Asqua in Ashanti region. I'm an Ashanti 100%. I come from my mother's side, I come from Mampong and Bekwai. And from my father's side, I come from Inquiry, Mamponti and Antwa. My grandfather
In Carrier.
Yes, in Carrier.
Okay, that's where President Kufuor also comes from.
Yes, in Carrier. And my grandfather was the custodian of the Golden Stool of Ashanti. His name was Papa Kojo Gyantuah. His house is in Ashton. Recently, I was taken to the old lady in the house to, not introduce myself. It was a ritual that they said they should bring me, so I went. And my father's house was in Ashton, my grandfather. And my grandfather was also one of the brothers of President Kufuor's mother, Mamiama. One of the uncles, the 8 uncles of President Kufuor's mother. And the Apejefie is a family home. And my grandfather was a rich man. I heard he was one of the people who used a Jaguar and a Pontiac.
Those days.
In those days,
wow.
He had about 8 buildings in Edum. And he was a rich man, and he was the one who bought the tickets for Prempeh the First to come back from Seychelles.
Wow.
Yes. And he was a Sanahini of the Ashanti Kingdom. And that he was, I heard the Sanahini. I know the Sanahini is like the finance minister. So Otumfo is my cousin. And Menchia is my home, my family. And I am sort of a royal. And I grew up in Kumasi.
So you can be a queen mother one day?
No, I will not be a queen mother.
I'll be your chief of staff.
No, I will not be a queen mother. So
where does John Mahama's side come in?
John Mahama's father, Uncle E. Mahama, was my father's very good friend.
Okay.
Uncle E and Effie were very good friends.
Okay.
And even my father was one of the people who named John. So my father always said that he knows him as Dramani, not as John, because he was named as Dramani.
Okay.
When Uncle E was taking John to school in the north from Achimota Primary, he passed through Kumasi and told my father that he was taking his son to school because there was this free SHS?
Yeah, free secondary education.
So he's taking him to this thing. Uncle E used to call me my minister's daughter because Uncle E was Daddy's deputy.
Okay.
He was a chief director and became Daddy's deputy at the Ministry of Agric.
Okay.
Then moved to the Northern Region as the Northern Regional Minister. So
basically you grew up with John.
Yes, we are family. We are
right.
family. His brothers, Peter everybody. We are family. I when I took over as general secretary, I saw some documents that had the signature of Uncle Ye on it.
Oh,
And I
okay.
also found his tributes written by the CPP when he died. I mean, truly, we always say that John is our son. It's time for him to come back home.
To the CPP?
Yes, that is where he belongs.
You mean John Mahama should come back to CPP?
Yes, that is where he belongs. You will take, otherwise they have to.
Because his father was CPP.
Yes, his father was a founding member of the CPP. So if the NDC has taken it, then they should start paying royalty.
So where does Nanado also come in?
Nanado, my mother is UP.
Okay.
My mother and my father is CPP. My mother is UP. My grandfather on my mother's side was one of the founding fathers of the UP tradition, and I'm also, related to Bafo Akuto.
Okay.
My grandmother had a child with Bafo Akuto, and my mother is UP, is MPP.
So your cousin again is Dr. Akuto?
Yes, Dr.
Fiifi Akuto.
Dr. Fiifi Akuto is my direct uncle. He's my direct uncle.
So he should also come back to the CPP.
He's always
UP.
be UP.
Okay, because of his father.
Yes, because of his father. And my father grew up staying with Bafo Akuto. My mother was UP, and it's always been UP. On my mother's side, my grandfather, Kusi Apple, was a stalwart of the UP tradition. And my mother remained UP and was married to my father was CPP. It was a beautiful marriage for 70 years. There was no conflict. What we see today is not beautiful. My father, even at the time, when he came to dealing with the Champon, remember the union government and all that, my father sat with people who were UP, like Oforiata, Pawili, FIFA, and Nanado. They all came into my father's house. But my father had a good relationship with Nanado's father. So Nanado became my father's like a protege. And Nanado was almost always in our house. And my sister almost married his brother Bomti, my sister Nanaya.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Nanaya.
So when you see Nanado, or if you get the opportunity to sit down with Nanado one-on-one like this, what would you tell him about Ghana? And what kind of advice would you give to him?
I'll tell him that, you see, Nanado, as we were growing up, we were told that Nanado would be president one day. And that when all those political activities rate in our home, he was part of the PMFJ. I was specifically told to make sure that he's not arrested, to spoil his record. So anytime I had a route for him to leave our house, what I'll tell him is that Nanado has a good heart for this nation. Nobody should get me wrong. I'm talking about a man that I know. But he has allowed himself to be cocooned. And he has allowed himself to listen too much. So when you listen too much, you become vindictive. You don't open up. They have put so much fear in him, as if somebody doesn't like him. Somebody don't allow. You see the people around not allowing him to be who he is. Because sometimes I wonder why when there are policies, there's no stakeholder consultations. We are going to IMF, there's no stakeholder consultation. There's nothing wrong if you fail.
Is Nanado a failure?
Let me go on. You see, there's nothing wrong if you fail in a certain direction and you have to redeem yourself. I remember President Kufuor, when he took about 80-something ministers, he came out and he apologized that before he came in, he didn't know it was like that. He didn't know the terrain of the job, so he's sorry. But that is what it is. So whatever he said before, he has retracted. There's nothing wrong with you saying that we have done something wrong along the way. It is not about Nana. We always put it on Nana. It is even possible he doesn't know the nitty-gritty of the economy.
But the buck stops with him.
The buck stops with you, but as a leader, you need the support of a team. If you're a leader and don't have a good team, you are in trouble.
Yeah, but we didn't campaign. We didn't vote for his team. We voted for him.
Yes, you voted
for... So he takes the absolute responsibility.
Yes, he takes the responsibility, but he is not the one who creates it.
But he cannot absorb himself.
He cannot absorb himself, but people around him should also be responsible.
Then he should take action when the people are not responsible.
That is what I'm going to say, that they shouldn't hide. They should be punished. His biggest problem is that he sees loyalty as a golden key.
Do you think he's a failure?
In what sense?
In his tenure of office. Because if Nana Addo had never become president, we may probably have said the president Ghana never had.
The good president
Ghana never had. From what you have seen in the last number of years he's been president, do you think he has failed?
I've seen that
based on what he said
what
before
I
he
see
came.
is I see a soft person.
Other than what he used to be.
Yes, I see a soft leader. I don't know where it came from. Maybe because we were not close.
The chair has changed him?
Yes, I see a leader who is as if he's afraid to reprimand his people. He's afraid to sack them, to change them. I see a leader, because to be a leader, you needn't be soft. You need to take the bull by the horn, even if it is your son who has gone wrong or it is your daughter who has gone wrong. You need to deal with the person. It is not about friendship anymore. The moment you take the seat, it ceases from being friendship to work. If the person is not working, doesn't matter who he is. If the person is a gap in the team and is the one drawing the team back, you should let the person go and fill that place with somebody who can make the team arise.
If you sit down with John Mahama, what do you tell him?
If I sit down, what will I tell him?
Yes. Just like you said this about Nana Addo, what would you say to John Mahama?
He should also be strong. I think the seat that one person who sat on that seat and was strong was Kofo. He should also be strong. He should also let people know that what is wrong, what is right. He should also be strong.
You think John is soft?
In some ways, I believe so. He should also be stronger and let his people around, because you see, it becomes some form. It's all with us. It's all with us, politicians. Sometimes the comradeship, all of us coming together. Do you get me?
Are you soft?
Yes.
You?
Now.
You?
I am soft. I am so, because
you have become soft.
Yes, because it is all.
Because I've never known you soft.
Yes, but it's all about comradeship. So sometimes people ask me, is this an Yaa Gyantuah? Even in the CPP, they wonder, is it an Yaa Gyantuah we knew? Is it? People ask questions because there are things that I will let go, which ordinarily I wouldn't have let go. But you see, when you take a certain position like a president, if I am the president of Ghana today, my focus, nobody should say that I want to be president too, but I'm saying that if I am, my focus will be to build the nation, to make Ghanaians happy, to make Ghanaians be okay, to make Ghanaians get the best hospitals, to make Ghanaians get everything that they need to make them happy, because then my government will be the custodian of the wealth of Ghana.
You think that motive was not shared by President Mahama or President Nana Addo before they came to power?
No, they had that motive, but President Mahama did well with all the projects that he did. In his case, it was how to get the projects together for us to know the essence of it. Like, it's when he left power that somebody noticed that this back road at Underbridge, Airport Hills, he did it. So the communication around him, that is also key. He should be able to put his communication team together in a way to communicate things that he did or he has done.
Let me ask you this straightforward question. Let me ask you this straightforward question. You saw President John Mahama's reign as president.
Yes.
You have seen Nana Addo's reign as president. Who did better?
In terms of what?
Everything.
They are different.
In terms of development, in terms of stability, in terms of Ghana's economy, stability of our economy, in terms of Ghanaians and their well-being and all of that.
And you compare that
to that of Nana Addo right
Kwame
now.
Nkrumah's too.
No, I haven't mentioned Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was before. I'm looking at John Mahama that we just saw recently and Nana Addo that we are seeing right now.
Okay. So we have a 57% GDP, debt to GDP, and we had a 103% debt to GDP.
That answers the question.
Yes. And they both went to IMF, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who used the IMF better? And we had a debt of 122 billion Ghana cedis, and now we have over 600 billion Ghana cedis.
So John Mahama is surely ahead.
This is how I'm analyzing it. I'm not mentioning it because this thing you need to look at
All the dynamics.
Yeah, these are just economic indicators, but there are also some places where MPP has done well, NDC didn't do well. So, but for the economy, this is what it is. When it comes to projects, certainly we know John Mahama did a lot of projects.
So if you should make a choice, CPP will obviously be your first choice because of your bias and your allegiance.
Of course. Not a bias, and that is my party.
Because of your allegiance to CPP.
Yes.
So let's put CPP
and my
aside.
position, yeah.
So let's put CPP aside. Without CPP, if any of these parties have to run this country's economy again, who would you trust? NDC, MPP?
I would trust my CPP.
Yes, CPP, yes.
Yes, but I would trust, with that kind of, with my allegiance, it's very difficult for me to say this or
let's
that.
Let's even take it for granted. CPP will come to power.
You can't take it for granted.
CPP will come to power. We can't take that one too for granted.
No, the CPP will come to power.
Okay, so let's put CPP aside.
It is a
CPP
truth.
is out of the subsets of the conversation. But between these two, if you have to close your eyes and put your finger on who you can trust,
I can't choose any one of them if I close my eyes.
So which one will you choose if you open your eyes?
I'll put all the parameters down and decide which is, because so many things are important. Security is important. The economy is important. Health is important. So I have to look at all these and see truly which one is of benefit to
So should we look
everybody.
forward to 2025 January that the CPP candidate will be,
Yes.
flag bearer will be sworn in as president of
Yes,
Ghana?
exactly. We are not playing with it.
Truth or
But the truth,
serious or like a joke?
serious, not a joke. But I always say that the person who, that's why I tell the MPP, the person or the being that installs kings is God.
I mean, it's Hene.
Yes.
Nanya, thank you so much. Thank you so much for trying to avoid some of the questions, but I know.
Which one did I avoid?
Well, for those of you who don't know, Nanya and I have had a very long-standing, friendship. She's like a big sis to me as well. But when it has to do with pushing her a little bit, I'm able to do that, and I get my way out with some of these things. Thank you so much for being here, and for those of you watching, definitely, more of such conversations will be right here on Fiifi Banson TV. Don't forget to subscribe. If you go to YouTube, you'll find us there. Thank you for watching.